A viral video leaks. A reality TV empire crumbles overnight. And just like that, the internet has a brand new obsession.
Oh, it completely took over every feed.
It really did.
Ah,
Welcome to this deep dive. Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals.
Oh.
From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
and today's story is, well, it's a massive one.
It's huge. Our headline today is This Taylor Frankie Paul Refuses to Back Down in Explosive Custody Battle.
Yeah, that's the headline that's basically defining pop culture right now.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, we're looking at a giant stack of sources that map out an incredibly complex, highly toxic family law battle, and it has just completely hijacked the conversation online.
We've got a really wild mix of documents today, like actual official Utah court documents,
Right.
filings from the Division of Child and Family Services, which is DCFS, news reports from places like Global News and TMZ, and of course, deep dive Reddit threads where people are just analyzing the celebrity PR spin in real time.
Which is honestly my favorite part. But our mission today, right, it isn't just to recap the drama. Like, we want to test a specific thesis for you guys listening.
Yeah, we're looking at how the legal burden of proof is being completely manipulated by influencer PR.
Right. We want to explore how the justice system operates when a family's most, painful private moments are being broadcast and literally weaponized in the court of public opinion.
Because, I mean, when your life is your brand, and your brand suddenly becomes a massive legal liability, the strategies you use to save one usually end up destroying the other.
Oh, wow. Yes. Okay, let's unpack this. If you are listening to this deep dive, you likely already follow the Taylor Frankie Paul saga.
Oh, definitely. You probably already know the players.
Right. So you've got Taylor, her ex-husband, Tate, who she shares her two older kids with, Indy and Ocean, and then her on-again, off-again ex-boyfriend, Dakota, who is the father of her 2-year-old, Ever.
And we really don't need to rehash her whole rise to fame on Hulu's Secret Lives of Mormon Wives because...
No, we know that part. What we do need to look at is the terrifying legal chess match happening behind the scenes. Because the current legal chaos truly detonated in March of 2026.
Right, and the inciting incident wasn't even a new argument. That's the crazy part.
Oh, not at all.
It was the highly strategic release of an old one. So a video from 2023 was leaked to TMZ, and it showed a really severe altercation where Taylor threw metal chairs at Dakota.
Yeah, and the worst part, her young daughter was visibly present in the room, crying.
Which is just heartbreaking.
It is. Now, the real-world consequences of this leak, they were instantaneous. ABC immediately canceled Taylor's upcoming season of The Bachelorette.
Boom, gone.
Gone. And she temporarily lost custody of her youngest child to Dakota. But I have to push back on the popular narrative here because people online were acting like this was just some accidental viral slip-up.
Right, like she just left her phone unlocked or something.
Exactly. But based on the court documents we're looking at, this was allegedly calculated sabotage. It's like someone using a nuclear bomb just to win a game of chess.
The affidavits certainly point in that direction.
Yeah, specifically, we have a private statement filed by Taylor's co-star, Jesse Draper.
Oh, this affidavit is wild.
It is. Draper claims that just days before the video hit TMZ, Dakota was in her basement and he was venting about how the police weren't acting on his domestic violence claims.
He was frustrated the cops weren't doing anything.
Right, and according to this document, Dakota explicitly bragged that he was going to take matters into his own hands to embarrass Taylor.
Wow.
He allegedly named TMZ as the outlet, specifically, and said he planned on leaking videos to just entirely destroy her reality TV career.
And then, what do you know, a few days later, the video is everywhere.
Literally everywhere. So wait, let me make sure I'm mapping this out correctly for you guys listening. Dakota couldn't get the police to act, so he just leaked it to TMZ instead.
Basically, yeah.
It's like trying to win a corporate boardroom dispute by pulling the fire alarm.
That is such a good analogy.
Like, sure, you stop the meeting, you cause a ton of chaos, but now the fire department, which in this case is the family court system, they're in charge of the building, and neither of you has any control over what they tear down.
That is exactly the mechanism at play here. By bypassing the criminal justice system and going straight to the media, Dakota basically used the court of public opinion to force the family court's hand.
Which is just so manipulative.
It is. And to really understand why that works, we have to look at the legal fallout in May of 2026. This is when Utah Court Commissioner Russell Menas reviewed 11 different fights between the exes.
Yeah, I was looking at Commissioner Menas' notes, and I honestly had a huge disconnect when I read them.
How so?
Well, the judge's words were super sobering. He described the dynamic between Taylor and Dakota as very toxic. He specifically noted that violence had occurred on both sides.
Right, mutual violence.
And he ordered them to stay 100 feet apart for 3 years, ban disparaging social media posts, all of it. But here is where I'm confused. Despite the judge openly acknowledging this violence, the Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office and the city of Draper, they both declined to file any new criminal charges against either party.
Right, they cited a lack of corroborating evidence.
How does that work? How can a judge acknowledge the violence, put a restraining order in place, but the police do absolutely nothing?
So what's fascinating here is that disconnect. It's a fundamental difference between criminal court and family court. It all comes down to the burden of proof.
Okay, wait. I actually remember this from a law class I took once. A criminal court is beyond a reasonable doubt, right?
Exactly. That is the highest standard in our legal system. To put someone in jail for domestic assault, prosecutors need ironclad proof.
Which is hard to get.
Super hard. If it's a messy he said, she said situation with mutual combat and no clear independent witnesses, prosecutors often just decline to file charges. They know they can't win a conviction beyond a reasonable doubt.
But the family court doesn't need that level of proof, do they?
No, they don't. Family court operates on a preponderance of the evidence.
Okay, what does that actually mean in plain English?
It basically just means, is it more than 50% likely that this occurred? So the police might look at that leaked TMZ video and say, well, we can't prove who started this altercation beyond a reasonable doubt, so no arrests.
Right.
But Commissioner Menas can look at that exact same video and say, I am 51% sure this is a highly volatile, dangerous environment for a child.
Ah, I see.
Because the family court's job isn't to punish a crime, right? It's just to protect the children.
Wow, okay. Because that lower standard is exactly what allowed Dakota to bypass the criminal system entirely.
Precisely.
He knew the video wouldn't get her arrested, but he knew it would meet the lower burden of proof for the family court to revoke her custody.
He weaponized the system.
Huh.
But your fire alarm analogy earlier was so spot on. Because when you trigger that system, you lose control of the outcome.
Right, you can't put the smoke back in the alarm.
No, you can't. And that brings us to the massive mid-July curveball.
Oh, this was crazy. So, just as Taylor is fighting Dakota and Tate for custody, the state of Utah decides to step in.
Yeah, things escalated fast.
Utah's Division of Child and Family Services, or DCFS, they filed a petition asking a juvenile court to find all 3 of Taylor's children abused, neglected, or dependent, and they ordered protective supervision.
And that is a huge deal. A DCFS petition of this nature basically overrides the standard family court proceedings.
Wait, really?
Oh, yeah. When the state asks a juvenile court to take jurisdiction, they are invoking their power as the ultimate protector of children. They're essentially telling the parents, look, we believe neither of you is currently capable of providing a safe environment without our direct oversight.
That is heavy. And crucially, they asked for a guardian ad litem to be appointed.
Yes, they did.
Can you break down the mechanics of a guardian ad litem for us? Because I think people hear that term on TV and they just assume it's like a fancy mediator or a therapist.
It is definitely not just a mediator. A guardian ad litem is an independent attorney appointed by the court.
Okay.
But they don't represent Taylor, and they don't represent the fathers. Their sole client is the best interest of the children.
Wow. So they are just there for the kids.
Entirely. And they have immense investigative power. They can interview teachers, doctors, neighbors, therapists. They review all the police reports.
They're digging into everything.
Everything. And the thing is, they don't care about TMZ. They don't care about Instagram followers. And they certainly don't care about Taylor's PR spin. They report directly to the judge.
Which makes Taylor's PR response to this DCFS filing absolutely fascinating to me. Her legal team immediately released a statement completely shrugging this off.
Oh, the spin was incredible.
They claimed moving to juvenile court was just a common step for families engaged in highly contentious, complex custody matters.
Just a normal Tuesday.
Right. They said Taylor wasn't deterred, she welcomed the added structure, and she appreciated the professionalism of DCFS.
I mean, framing state intervention for child neglect as a welcome structural upgrade to your custody dispute is just an audacious piece of crisis management.
It is bold. Meanwhile, sources close to her exes leaked to the press that they were furious she was downplaying it. They viewed the DCFS involvement as absolute vindication of their concerns.
Of course they did.
But the true insight here isn't just that reality stars spin the truth. It's that in family law, perception really is reality.
Absolutely.
Family courts rule on the best interests of the child, which, is a highly subjective standard. So by projecting this calm, cooperative, completely unbothered persona in her press releases, Taylor isn't just fighting for public sympathy.
No, she's playing a much longer game.
She is weaponizing PR to artificially manufacture a stable public persona, because that persona can legally be submitted as evidence of her fitness as a mother.
That is such a brilliant point. She is literally treating her public statements like legal exhibits. She's trying to show the judge, look how cooperative and rational I am compared to my exes who are out here leaking things to the press.
It's all a performance for the bench. But wait, if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed to Starscope Report, because we have got even crazier stories ahead.
And you definitely want to stick around for this next part.
Yeah, because the pressure cooker was definitely getting to Taylor, and the facade actually cracked a bit. In early July, she checked into an inpatient facility for a few days.
Right.
Now, for any normal person, this is just private medical care. Good for her for getting health. But for an influencer in a custody battle...
It's a gold mine for the opposition.
Exactly. It becomes immediate tabloid fodder. And Dakota's legal team immediately raised red flags in court because this inpatient stay coincided with her scheduled parenting time.
And they made sure the judge knew they hadn't received any documentation about the treatment.
Right, implying she was unstable and hiding some sort of substance issue.
Exactly.
So Taylor immediately took to her Instagram stories to take control of the narrative. She posted that she went on her own volition, stating her #1 priority was a reset for my mental health.
She was trying to get ahead of the rumors.
She explicitly pushed back on the rumor mill, saying these facilities are not just for substance abuse. And TMZ sources later chimed in, noting she was simply following medical advice to switch psychiatric medications in a safe, monitored environment.
Which is a very responsible thing to do.
It is. And here's where I get so frustrated with the legal system. Isn't weaponizing this totally counterproductive? Like, we want parents who are struggling to get help. If she's proactively getting her meds adjusted, why does that hurt her case?
You're highlighting a tragic systemic irony in family law, especially for public figures. We do want parents to seek help. But in a highly contentious zero-sum custody battle, opposing counsel will use every single tool available to them.
Even if it's unfair.
Even if it's unfair.
Yeah.
Seeking inpatient psychiatric help is almost universally subpoenaed and used by the opposing side to argue instability, unfitness, or erratic behavior.
And it worked. The judge actually ordered her to take a drug test based on this.
Exactly. The opposing lawyers, they know how to use the family court's cautious nature against a parent. If there is even a hint of substance abuse or mental instability, a judge will order testing just out of an abundance of caution for the kids.
It is incredibly bleak that an influencer has to rely on TMZ sources to validate her psychiatric medication management just to protect her legal standing.
It is bleak, but it sets the stage for the climax of this entire legal chess match. Because how Taylor responded to this mounting pressure is where the line between legal strategy and influencer ego completely disintegrates.
Oh, this is the wildest part. And later in the episode, I promise we'll get into the shocking twist nobody saw coming with Reddit. But first, here's where it gets really interesting. Let's move to late July 2026.
Okay, the mediation.
Yes. The exes, Tate and Dakota, who Taylor firmly believes are secretly coordinating their legal strategies to destroy her, they put forward modified custody proposals during a mediation session.
Right.
Tate offered Taylor approximately 35% parenting time with their 2 older kids. This would include every other weekend and a midweek overnight. But it came with a massive catch.
Always a catch.
All of her time had to be supervised by her family members at their homes.
And Dakota offered her a revised arrangement, giving her 40% visitation with the youngest child ever. Now, from a purely legal standpoint, we have to put this in perspective.
Okay.
Offering a parent who recently had state DCFS petitions filed against them and who is operating under an active protective order for domestic violence, offering them 35 to 40% custody is actually a pretty significant concession.
Really?
Oh, yeah. In many cases with this level of documented volatility, a parent might be fighting tooth and nail just to keep a few hours of supervised weekend visitation.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. But Taylor flat out rejected these offers, both of them.
She walked away.
And how do we know she rejected them? Because a mysterious source leaked the details of this highly confidential mediation directly to Page 6.
Convenient, right?
Super convenient. The source claimed Taylor scoffed at the offers, and they even provided a direct quote of her response. The quote is, So now I'm suddenly capable of parenting 40% of the time. Couldn't be more obvious what this is really about, and it isn't the safety or well-being of our children.
And the source also added that Taylor can't wait to address these claims in court and, quote, can't wait to witness them lose.
Now, when I first read that, I thought, okay, she's trying to point out their hypocrisy. But this is where the internet's immune system kicks in. We have to look at the deep dive Reddit community, specifically Are Mormon Wives Hulu.
The Redditors are always on it.
They saw right through this page 6 article. They immediately flagged it as a PR plant orchestrated by Taylor herself.
And they were armed with actual legal knowledge, which is the best part.
They tore it apart. One user pointed out a massive, glaring legal discrepancy regarding how mediation actually works. So in Utah, like in almost all jurisdictions, settlement offers made during mediation are strictly privileged and confidential.
You cannot disclose them.
You cannot disclose them to the public, and you absolutely cannot use them as evidence in trial. A user literally wrote, Utah lawyers y'all have settlement privilege there. In my jurisdiction, if you disclose genuine settlement offers, you're breaching privilege and can be held in contempt.
Which is such a crucial point about the mechanics of family law. Mediation privilege exists so that parties can negotiate freely without fear that their compromises will be used against them later.
Right.
By leaking a privileged mediation offer, she isn't just spinning the public. She is handing Dakota and Tate's lawyers a gift-wrapped motion for contempt of court. Family judges absolutely despise when parents try to litigate confidential mediation in the press.
So if she knows it's going to infuriate the judge, why do it?
That's the million-dollar question.
And the Reddit sleuths figured that out too. They strongly imply that the exes, who are utilizing very traditional conservative legal counsel, they didn't leak this. Taylor, who has a long history of using her massive audience as leverage, most likely did.
Exactly.
But why? To get ahead of a bad news cycle.
It's a highly calculated risk. Think about it from a PR perspective. If the court eventually mandates a 60-40 custody split favoring the fathers, Taylor looks like she lost the battle.
Right, she looks like the court took her kids away.
But by leaking this now, she has already seeded the narrative that she rejected 40% because it was an insult to her capabilities, not because it was a restriction placed upon her by a judge. She is trying to turn a potential legal loss into a preemptive PR victory.
It is pure spin inception. But the Redditors caught the logical flaw in her own leaked quote. She says, so now I'm suddenly capable of parenting 40% of the time as a way to prove the dads don't actually care about safety.
Yeah.
But as one Reddit user brilliantly pointed out, if she truly believes she is fully capable and safe to parent her kids, why is she complaining about being offered almost half the time?
Right. Another user wrote, she currently has temp custody. 40% custody would be a step up from what you have now.
Exactly. The Redditors saw it as pure ego. She doesn't just want her kids. She wants to win the breakup. She wants to watch her exes lose, and she wants the internet to watch them lose too.
It really emphasizes the brilliance and just the relentless transparency of internet sleuths in dissecting celebrity crisis management.
They miss nothing.
You really cannot spin a community that has thousands of eyes, some of whom are actual lawyers, social workers, and parents who have been through the family court system themselves. They strip away the PR veneer and expose the underlying mechanics of the behavior.
Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next, because we are bringing it all together now. What does this all mean? We've talked about the lower burden of proof in family court, protective orders, the mechanics of DCFS and guardians ad litem, and the legal danger of breaching mediation privilege on page 6. Let's pull this all together.
Yes, we connect this back to our central thesis, how the legal burden of proof is manipulated by PR. This story is the ultimate cautionary tale. It's about the intersection of influencer culture, digital permanence, and the family justice system.
It's a toxic mix.
Very toxic. When a person's identity and primary source of income are based on sharing their personal drama with the world, the boundaries between a genuine legal strategy and a PR campaign completely dissolve. Taylor is fighting for her children, yes, but she is simultaneously fighting for her narrative, her brand, and her livelihood.
And in doing so, she's utilizing the only tools she knows: social media, tabloids, and public sympathy. She is trying to manufacture evidence of her stability in the court of public opinion, just hoping the family court judge will accept it.
But the exes are forced to play on that exact same battlefield. If Jesse Draper's affidavit is true, Dakota realized the criminal justice system was moving too slowly and required way too much proof.
So he took a shortcut.
He invoked the power of cancel culture by leaking that video to TMZ to get immediate results in family court. And it worked. She lost her TV show, and she temporarily lost her kid. But it is mutually assured destruction.
It really is. The legal system is designed to be slow, deliberate, and private to protect the vulnerable, specifically the children. The influencer ecosystem, on the other hand, is designed to be fast, reactive, and public to generate clicks and engagement.
Completely opposing forces.
Right. So when you force the mechanics of family law into the influencer ecosystem, the system breaks down. And the casualties are always the kids.
Because you cannot optimize a custody battle for the internet without sacrificing the privacy and well-being of the minors involved.
I want you, the listener, to really reflect on this for a second. Think about your worst argument, your most heated, toxic moment with a partner.
We all have them.
We do. Now imagine if that moment was recorded, leaked to a global tabloid, used to fire you from your job, analyzed by state child welfare workers, and then debated by thousands of strangers on Reddit who are picking apart every single word you say and analyzing your legal strategy. How would any of us fare in that environment?
Most of us would completely crumble. It's an impossible standard to survive, let alone try to parent under.
Privacy is a luxury that influencers trade for fame and fortune. It is the currency of their realm. But it's a trade that inevitably, unavoidably drags their children into the blinding spotlight of public scrutiny. You simply cannot monetize your family's cute, curated moments without the internet eventually demanding access to the ugly, painful ones, too.
Which brings us to an incredibly sobering final thought.
Yeah.
We've spent this whole time analyzing the adults. We've dissected Taylor's PR moves, Dakota's alleged leaks, Tate's legal maneuvers, the lawyers, the judges, and the Redditors. But what happens to Indy, Ocean, and Ever 10 years from now?
Right. What happens when they're teenagers in high school?
Exactly. What happens when they are old enough to simply open a laptop and Google their own names? They aren't just going to find cute family photos. They are going to find the leaked TMZ videos of violence.
Oh, that's so sad.
They're going to read the court transcripts about protective orders. They will find the Reddit threads debating their mother's psychological fitness, and they'll see the DCFS petitions permanently labeling them as abused or neglected. When a child's entire digital footprint, the very foundation of their public identity, is written by their parents' public scandals and legal warfare, how do they ever reclaim their own narrative?
Wow. That is a heavy, heavy thought to leave you with, but it is the harsh reality of navigating family law in the digital age. You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining. Until next time.